what we discussed in the previous class. So I will start with then today's class. So today's class is about ketone bodies. Anybody who knows what are ketone bodies? See the name ketone. Ketone means they contain a keto group. Since they contain keto group, that's why they are known as ketone bodies, right? And there are three ketone bodies, right? One is acetone, second is acetoacetate, and the third is beta-hydroxybutyrate, right? But only these two, first two are true ketone bodies, and this is not a true ketone body. Why? Because this contain keto group, this contain keto group, right? So they are true ketone bodies, but this beta-hydroxy contains hydroxy group. So it is not a true ketone body, right? So I repeat, ketone bodies, they contain keto group, right? This is our keto group. There are three ketone bodies. First is acetone, second is acetoacetate, and third is beta-hydroxybutyrate. And this acetone and acetoacetate are true ketone bodies because they contain keto group. The third one, that is beta-hydroxybutyrate, is not a true ketone body because it doesn't contain keto group, but it contains a hydroxy group, right? And the organ where they are synthesized, anybody, organ is liver. They are synthesized in the liver, and which organelle? Mitochondrial matrix, right? And normal, how they are detected in urine? You have already done Rothera test. Rothera's test is done for the detection of ketone bodies in urine, right? And normal level of ketone bodies in blood is, normally it is 1 mg per dl, right? But its level can increase. How much increase? You can say it can increase to up to 250 to even 500 milligram during conditions like any condition in which ketone bodies are increased. One is starvation, right? And the second is diabetes mellitus, right? So I repeat, ketone bodies, they contain keto group, right? There are three ketone bodies. First is acetone, acetoacetate, and beta-hydroxybutyrate. These two, first two are true ketone bodies, and this doesn't contain keto group, so it is not a true ketone body, it contains a hydroxy group, right? Organ for synthesis is liver, organelle is matrix, and urine test is Rothera test, right? And the level when increases in blood is known as ketonemia. Keto bodies in blood increase anemia, right? In urine, ketonuria, right? And for ketonuria test is Rothera test, right? And this condition is combinedly known as ketosis, right? So just simple, three ketone bodies are there: acetone, acetoacetate, and beta-hydroxybutyrate. Why the name ketone bodies? Because they contain keto group. The third ketone body is not a true ketone body. Why? Because it contains a hydroxy group, right? And the organ for synthesis is liver, organelle is matrix, and when the blood level is increased, it is known as ketonemia. When further level is increased, it appears in urine, it is known as ketonuria, and this combined is known as ketosis, right? Urine test is Rothera test, right? Normal level is 1 mg per dl, but it can increase up to 200 milligram per deciliter in blood and 500 milligram per day in urine, right? It can increase up to this rate level. And when the level is increased, major two conditions, starvation and diabetes mellitus. Now, I will start with structures. Just see the structures. The first was acetone. See, it contains, this red one is our keto group and two methyl groups are there. This is our acetone. Clear? So this one is our first acetone. See it. Keto group is with red color and it is our acetone. Now coming on to the second. What was the name? Acetoacetate. So this is our second one, that is our acetoacetate. It again contains a keto group, right? Red one, keto, right? The third one is not a true ketone body. Why? Because it doesn't contain a keto group. It contains a hydroxy group. See, beta-hydroxybutyrate. Clearly, you can see it. We have a hydroxy group here, so it is not a true ketone body. This is the third one, beta position hydroxybutyrate. Total 4 carbons are there, beta hydroxybutyrate. Okay. So we finish with structure. We finish with what? Location of the cycle where? Liver, organelles, mitochondrial matrix, and the conditions associated are diabetes mellitus and starvation. And whatever left, 3 ketone bodies, acetone, acetoacetate and beta-hydroxybutyrate. The first 2 are true ketone bodies and the third one is not a true because it contains hydroxy group, right? Now, what are their function? And one thing is that they are water soluble, right? And they yield energy. Right? There is property that they are water soluble and they are energy yielding. Right? And what is the principal source of energy to the brain? What is the principal source of energy to the brain is glucose. Right? But when we are deprived of glucose, what will be the source? The 50 to 70% energy needs are provided by ketone bodies. Right? The 50 to 70% of the energy needs of the body, of the brain basically, is provided by ketone bodies. Clear? Should I repeat? Okay. There are 3 ketone bodies. First is acetone, second is acetoacetate, and third is beta-hydroxybutyrate. The first 2 are true ketone bodies because they contain the keto group. The third one contains hydroxy group, so it is not a true ketone body. The 3 ketone bodies are there. Synthesis is occurring in the liver, organelles, matrix, right? And detection test is for urine is Rothera test, right? And normal level is 1 mg per dl, but during conditions like starvation, the level can increase up to 250 milligram in blood and 500 milligram per day in urine, right? That finishes. And the primary source is glucose for energy to the brain, but after that, the ketone bodies will meet a 50 to 70% needs. That is why it is very important, right? Now we'll discuss the metabolism. So first is ketogenesis. Ketogenesis, what does it mean? See the name, ketogenesis. Ketogenesis. Keto means ketone bodies and genesis means to synthesize. Right? The mechanism of synthesis of ketone bodies is known as ketogenesis. Right? What is the raw material? What is the raw material for synthesis of ketone bodies? Raw material from which you can synthesize ketone bodies. You can try, just give a guess. Yes, Bhushan, tell me. What is the raw material to synthesize ketone bodies? During beta-oxidation, we discussed in the previous class beta-oxidation. What is the end product of beta-oxidation? If we do even chain fatty acids, what we'll get? acetyl-CoA and acetyl-CoA. So the acetyl-CoA is the precursor for the synthesis of ketone bodies. Acetyl-CoA. This is precursor for the synthesis of ketone bodies, right? So let's discuss the cycle and how to synthesize them. So just have a diagram. So these are the ketone bodies. This was our acetone keto group, acetoacetate again keto group, and the third one was beta-hydroxybutyrate, that is our third ketone body. The red one indicates it contains hydroxy group, so it is not a true ketone body. These two, acetone and acetoacetate, are true, and this is not a true, right? Now we start with ketogenesis. Keto means ketone bodies, genesis means to synthesize. The raw material is acetyl-CoA, right? So just start with diagram first. Tell me sources of acetyl-CoA in the body. From where you will get acetyl-CoA? The first source of acetyl-CoA is beta-oxidation. Ketogenesis we are doing, it starts from acetyl-CoA. Any other metabolism from which acetyl-CoA is formed? Make a guess. Backbenchers. Palak Yadav, will you try? Yes. Any other sources of acetyl-CoA in the body? We started with glycolysis, carbohydrate metabolism, glucose, glucose 6-phosphate, and finally what was formed? Pyruvate or lactate. In anaerobic we form lactate, otherwise we form pyruvate, right? And then pyruvate via pyruvate dehydrogenase complex, what is formed? Acetyl-CoA. Then it enters the TCA cycle, right? So, but now we are synthesizing ketone bodies. So, the sources was, the primary source was beta-oxidation, and the second is from glycolysis we form pyruvate, right? Pyruvate is converted to acetyl-CoA via pyruvate dehydrogenase complex, and from acetyl-CoA it will enter the TCA cycle. But now we are synthesizing ketone bodies, right? So first of all, we have acetyl-CoA. It will combine with another molecule of acetyl-CoA, right? So what we will get? Acetyl-CoA, right? And again we will add another molecule of acetyl-CoA, right? What we will get? Beta-hydroxy, beta-methyl, gluteryl CoA. What is it is known as? It is known as HMG-CoA. This HMG-CoA, right? See the formula: beta-hydroxy, beta-methyl. So this is our two molecules of acetyl-CoA, right? They combine to form acetoacetyl-CoA, right? Then again another molecule acetyl-CoA is added, will get our beta-hydroxy, beta-methyl, gluteryl-CoA. That is known as HMG-CoA, right? Then this molecule HMG-CoA will undergo lyase reaction to form. First of all, it will form acetoacetate. What is acetoacetate? What is acetoacetate? Ketone body number 2, right? And this acetoacetate will have two fates, right? One is it undergoes dehydrogenation reaction, right? And the second is it undergo decarboxylation. And when decarboxylation is done, it will form our first ketone body, that is acetone, right? And when dehydrogenation reaction goes, it will form beta-hydroxybutyrate, right? So again, to recall, there are three acetone, acetoacetate and beta-hydroxybutyrate, right? The major level are up to second and third, that is acetoacetate and beta-hydroxybutyrate. Acetone is not metabolized, it is treated by our lungs in the breath, right? It is known as acetone breath, right? Now, how to synthesize them? To synthesize it is known as ketogenesis. Keto means ketone bodies and genesis means to synthesize. The raw material is acetyl-CoA, right? Acetyl-CoA is from where we get it? We get it from beta-oxidation, right? When fatty acid oxidation occurs, the end product is acetyl-CoA. Then two molecules of acetyl-CoA will combine to form acetoacetyl-CoA. Then it will form HMG-CoA, that is known as beta-hydroxybutyrate-CoA. This HMG-CoA will form acetoacetate. Then this acetoacetate, it goes decarboxylation to form acetone, our first ketone body, and the second is undergo dehydrogenation reaction to form beta-hydroxybutyrate, that is our third ketone body that contains hydroxy group. So that finishes with our ketogenesis, right? And I already told the synthesis takes place in which organ? Liver. And enzymes are located in the mitochondrial matrix, right? And other sources, first was pyruvate, I told, beta-oxidation, and the second is pyruvate से बन सकता है हमारा. Can you get beta-oxidation from pyruvate? Via pyruvate dehydrogenase flux will form acetyl-CoA, and from acetyl-CoA we can do ketogenesis, right? And ketogenic amino acids. Tell me name of ketogenic amino acid. Exclusive ketogenic amino acids. Tell me the name. Ketogenic amino acids. Tell me the names. Leucine and the two ketone body synthesis. These are ketogenic amino acids because they will lead to synthesis of ketone bodies, right? So the principal three sources are, first is beta-oxidation, then pyruvate, then ketogenic amino acids. They all will form acetyl-CoA. Acetyl-CoA will lead to synthesis of all the three ketone bodies, right? Now, what is the utilization of ketone bodies? What is the utilization? Done with these notes. Now we start with utilization. How will you utilize them? The three ketone bodies are, tell me the names, acetone, acetoacetate and beta-hydroxybutyrate, right? So these are the reactions of utilization, right? The first ketone body was, the third one was beta-hydroxybutyrate, right? Beta-hydroxybutyrate, right? So we will go do reversal of the reaction of ketogenesis. What we will get? Acetoacetate. During ketogenesis we form acetoacetate to beta-hydroxybutyrate. Now we are doing the reversal of synthesis because we are utilizing them. So first step was beta-hydroxybutyrate is converted to acetoacetate, right? And we use beta-hydroxybutyrate dehydrogenase, right? So acetoacetate will form acetoacetyl-CoA, right? And in this reaction we use succinate. Succinate कहाँ से आएगा? It will come from TCA cycle, right? We'll get our acetoacetyl-CoA, right? Then again it will undergo thiolase reaction and it will form acetyl-CoA and again another molecule of acetyl-CoA. Hope you remember in synthesis we started from acetyl-CoA, right? And now again we have two molecules of acetyl-CoA, right? Earlier we synthesized it Now we are again utilizing them starting from beta-hydroxybutyrate. We started from 2-acetyl-CoA, acetyl-CoA plus acetyl-CoA, acetoacetyl-CoA. Then another molecule acetyl-CoA was added, but we'll get HMG-CoA. From HMG-CoA, we get two pathways from acetoacetate. One was acetone, another was beta-hydroxybutyrate. That was the synthesis ketogenesis. Now we are lysing breakdown for utilizing. We have beta-hydroxybutyrate will form acetoacetate, then acetoacetyl-CoA, and then it will undergo breakdown to form two molecules of acetyl-CoA. Right? So this is how it is utilized. And what is the function of acetyl-CoA? I told they play a major role in energy deprivation. Right? So energy deprivation is going on. What will happen? We will not have energy via glucose. Right? So this was utilization. Right? We started from beta-hydroxybutyrate, then we form acetoacetate, then acetoacetyl-CoA, and then we'll get two molecules of acetyl-CoA. Right? So what will this acetyl-CoA do? Acetyl-CoA will enter where? TCA cycle. Right? And TCA cycle will provide energy. Right? So you don't have extra glucose, but you are utilizing it via ketone body metabolism. So it is the alternate pathway for providing energy to the brain. Right? The 60 to 70% energy needs are met through this. Right? Normally TCA cycle बनाए तो कैसे बनेगा? Anybody who knows the mnemonic or recall the mnemonic? Citrate is Krebs starting substrate for making oxaloacetate. So right, citrate is isocitrate alpha ketoglutarate, then succinate, then succinyl-CoA, then citrate is Krebs starting substrate for fumarate, making malate, oxaloacetate, and again the cycle is closed. Right? So the cycle is starting from acetyl-CoA, and acetyl-CoA is coming from ketone bodies. Why is this indirect pathway? Because normally during glycolysis, what will get? Pyruvate, and after that energy is not flowing because you are not getting enough. Right? So we use the alternate pathway. When glucose is not available in sufficient quantity, what will the body do? It will break down fats via beta-oxidation. Right? What will beta-oxidation provide? It will provide acetyl-CoA. Right? And this acetyl-CoA will further continue the cycle and it will provide energy. Right? Now you can club the glucose pathway and this ketone body metabolism. Right? Normally glycolysis is going glucose 6-phosphate, fructose 6-phosphate, fructose 1,6-phosphate, end product is pyruvate, and in anaerobic the product is lactate. But you are not continuing with this pathway. Why? Because you don't have enough glucose. The body is not in well-fed state. Right? The primary source of energy is glucose. Right? After the glucose, the body will break down glycogen to form glucose. Glycogen is also finished now. What will the body do? The body will use beta-oxidation. It will break down fats. Right? The fat will break down to form this molecule, acetyl-CoA. Right? And this acetyl-CoA is utilized by ketone body metabolism to form, and this acetyl-CoA will enter TCA cycle, and TCA cycle will provide energy. Normally the pathway was through glucose to pyruvate to TCA cycle by acetyl-CoA, but it is not going. So what will the body do? Thus it comes via ketone bodies to this pathway, right? So it provides energy to the body. Now we'll finish with ketone bodies. Now coming on next, what will happen during overproduction? Overproduction. What does overproduction mean? Overproduction. Over means more. When the rate of utilization decreases and the production increases. Production is more but utilization is less, so it is overproduction, right? What will happen during excess ketone body production? I discussed the three mechanisms. First was the normal level of ketone bodies in blood is 1 mg per dl, right? But when the level starts increasing, production increases, what will happen? The level will increase. It is known as ketonemia. Ketone bodies increased level in blood is known as ketonemia, right? But when it crosses the renal threshold, level keeps on increasing and it increases the renal threshold, it will appear in urine. It is known as ketonuria, right? And this combined is known as ketosis, right? Clear? And normal level is up to 1 mg per dl, but it can increase up to 250 mg per dl in blood, and in urine it can increase up to 500 milligram per day in urine, right? The condition combined is known as ketosis, right? Now overproduction has some problems or not? Tell me. Tell me. I told the three ketone bodies, the first is not metabolized. First one is acetone. How it is metabolized? It is secreted by our lungs, right? The girls use nail polish and they remove it by a thinner that contains acetone, and it has fruity smell. Fruity smell. And if you are standing near or taking history of the diabetic ketoacidosis patient, right, you will note a peculiar fruity smell from it. That will indicate it is having acetone breath and he is under uncontrolled diabetes mellitus. And you are working in a remote area. You don't have kids to test to do that. What will you? How will you examine? First thing is that you will just stand close to him and watch his breath. It has constant breathing, and the second is that it will have fruity smell from his breath, right? And moreover, what you can do, ask him to micturate in some fields. When he will micturate, the urine will contain some sugar because ketone body metabolism is going on. The ants will come because the urine is sweetie, right? So clear? Overproduction. Now the metabolism is starvation. What will happen in starvation? Starvation, what does it indicate? Some bodybuilders, some gym goers, they keep on fasting to lose weight, right? Is it a good mechanism to lose weight, or you can manipulate your diet to lose weight by starvation? Gayatri, you are sleeping in the class. Yes, तुम्हारे साथ वाली, तुम्हारे आगे वाली. हाँ, पानी पी ले बेटा. Starvation. Starvation. Keto diet सुनी है? Keto diet. What is keto diet? वो कौन सी फिल्म थी? वो दीपिका का हस्बैंड क्या ना, रणबीर कपूर के रणबीर सिंह, है ना? उसने एप्स निकाले थे विदिन 1 month. होप यू रिमेंबर, है ना? तो इट इज थ्रू कीटो डाइट. What is the basic funda of this keto diet? You have to eat 70% fats, 20% protein, and 10% carbs. This is keto diet. 70% fats, 20% protein for bodybuilding, and 10% carb to avoid constipation. The major problem that comes in keto diet is constipation. Because you are not eating carbs, the gastric motility is gone, right? So when your body is eating, you are eating 70% fats, what will happen? The primary source of energy will come from fats, right? The glucose is not there, right? And when 70% metabolism is metabolized by fat, so what will happen? The body will come in ketosis. So what is the product in ketosis? Raw material was acetyl-CoA, right? And this is coming from beta-oxidation. You are eating 70% fats, right? And the product is for synthesis. So body is not going metabolizing glucose, it is metabolizing fats. From beta-oxidation you will getting acetyl-CoA, right? And this acetyl-CoA is metabolized by ketone bodies, right? But the acetyl-CoA is coming from beta-oxidation of fats. So fats are being metabolized. So you are able to lose approximately more than you can lose 6 kg very easily in a week. And if you go for a 1 month of keto diet, you can lose even 15 to 20 kg. It is so simple, right? So you are manipulating the carbohydrate metabolism and fat metabolism. बनाया हमने, वाई कुश्ती वाला ने यूज कुछ और कोई बंदे कर रहे हैं, ठीक है? So clear? When you eat 70% fats, 20% protein and 10% carb, you are in a keto diet. And keto diet, the source is acetyl-CoA, and acetyl-CoA is coming from beta-oxidation of fat. You are metabolizing fats to get energy, and acetyl-CoA is then entering the TCA cycle and providing energy to the body, but you are using the chief source as fat. So you will immediately lose fat from the body. This is how manipulation is done, right? Now, so the major weight loss programs are on this mechanism, keto diet, right? Now coming on to diabetes mellitus and diabetic ketoacidosis. We discussed starvation now. Now we're coming on to the names 1 and 2. 1 and 1 में क्या होता है? डेफिशिएंसी, 2 में रेजिस्टेंस, राइट? इसमें डेफिशिएंसी है, राइट? अगर इंसुलिन में प्रॉब्लम है तो व्हाट विल हैपन? You are not able to regulate glucose properly, right? So what will happen? The body will sooner or later move into ketosis and diabetic ketoacidosis, right? And what is non-pathological ketosis? This is a pathological condition like diabetes or starvation. Tell me non-pathologic ketosis example. It is done during this diet. You are eating high fats and doing vigorous exercise. This is example of non-pathological ketosis, right? Why are you doing it? Because you want abs. You are going to shoot a movie or something else. You are using it. How will you know that person is in ketosis or not? How will you diagnose the person? Their urine also contains some ketone bodies, so you will do Rothera test. It will come positive. Though they are not diabetic, but they have manipulated their diet, right? So Rothera will come positive, and they might have some fruity smell from their mouth as well. Like you go to gym, you do heavy exercise, now after that you will have some bit of fruity smell from the mouth. That's why, because acetone is being sent to the mouth, right? Because you are metabolizing the fat, right? और जब आप जिम कर रहे हो, पसीना जब तक नहीं आता ना, you are not metabolizing the fat. तब तक आप ग्लाइकोजन ही बंद कर रहे हो, ग्लूकोज बंद कर रहे हो या ग्लाइकोजन बंद कर रहे हो. जब स्वेटिंग स्टार्ट होगी ना, at that time you are in ketosis, right? Now coming on to next. And how will you regulate ketogenesis? Regulate. How will you regulate it? Insulin, glucagon ratio. When insulin is secreted, when blood glucose is high, and when glucagon is secreted, bolo. And this glucagon stimulates ketogenesis. And insulin inhibits. Right? Glucagon stimulates ketogenesis, insulin inhibits ketogenesis. Right? So when you have high glucagon level, the ketogenesis will proceed, and if you have high insulin level, it will inhibit ketogenesis. So insulin level will increase when you eat more sweets or glucose, right? When glucose is high in the blood, what will come into action? Insulin, and insulin will inhibit. And low glucose is there, then will come glucagon ratio will increase, and it will increase ketogenesis, right? Right? And so increase glucagon to insulin ratio. This controls or regulates, right? So when it is increased during non-availability of carbohydrates, when carbohydrates are ample, what will happen? The glucose will increase, insulin will increase, it will inhibit. When carbohydrates are less, very less, what will happen? Glucagon will increase and it will stimulate ketogenesis, and ketogenesis will produce acetyl-CoA, and acetyl-CoA will provide energy via TCA cycle, right? Now there is regulation of ketogenesis at three stages. Tell me, we discussed beta-oxidation, we discussed carnitine shuttle as well during beta-oxidation, right? And now we discuss ketogenesis. It is regulated at three levels. How? Tell me. The first stage is mobilization of free fatty acids. What will happen at this stage? When fatty acids are being mobilized or metabolized, what will come into play? Beta-oxidation, right? And beta-oxidation will produce acetyl-CoA, and acetyl-CoA will produce ketone bodies, right? Simple is that, na? Mobilization of free fatty acid. Mobilization will happen by beta-oxidation, and beta-oxidation produce acetyl-CoA. In the fourth step, oxidation, hydration, oxidation, and cleavage, and we'll get acetyl-CoA. And this acetyl-CoA will form ketone bodies via 2 acetyl-CoA will form acetoacetyl-CoA. Then one acetyl-CoA comes, then which will form HMG-CoA, and HMG-CoA will form finally the 2 ketone bodies, so will forming. So it is regulation first at free fatty acid level. The second is carnitine phosphoryl transferase 1. ये एंजाइम हमने कहाँ यूज किया था? कार्निटीन शटल में, कैट 1 एंड कैट 2. डायग्राम पता नहीं है कि नहीं. So its activity is increased when or low, when its levels are high and when they are low. Anybody who wants to add up, tell me. The primary source is glucose, right? When glucose is not there, the liver will break down glycogen to form glucose. Then liver glycogen is also depleted. What will we use? We use fats, and fats are broken down to form acetyl-CoA via beta-oxidation. And this acetyl-CoA will enter TCA cycle and provide energy, right? First was the mobilization of free fatty acid. The second is the carnitine shuttle enzyme, carnitine palmityl transferase 1, right? When starvation is there, what will happen? There is less glucose in the body. Then body will use glycogen from the liver and mobilize to form glucose. Now this glycogen is also depleted. What will the body use? Body will mobilize fats. The fat is mobilized to form acetyl-CoA via beta-oxidation, and this acetyl-CoA will enter TCA cycle to provide energy, right? So this was the enzyme. So it will increase during starvation, right? And when there is less glucose, starvation or less glucose is there, so they are the same mechanisms now, right? Now the third regulation, tell me. Third regulation happens at which step? When there is concentration of oxaloacetate. How it is regulated? Oxaloacetate कहाँ पे आता है? In which cycle oxaloacetate come? TS, tell me. TCA cycle का second last step है ना oxaloacetate. तो what will happen? I draw TCA cycle. We have acetyl-CoA. And the second last step is oxaloacetate. Citrate is Krebs starting substrate for making oxaloacetate. And this acetyl-CoA is coming from which step? Pyruvate. Pyruvate कहाँ से आ रहा है? Glycolysis से. And via PDH it is converted to acetyl-CoA. Right? And how this acetyl-CoA is diverted for ketogenesis rather than this pathway? How the body knows whether I will go through TCA cycle or through ketogenesis? This is the common point na. From acetyl-CoA you can enter TCA cycle, and you can also from ketogenesis acetyl-CoA plus acetyl-CoA, acetoacetyl-CoA, then HMG-CoA, and then ketone bodies are formed. So this is the turning point, whether it has to go via TCA or it has to go via ketogenesis. How will the body decides, or the energy mechanism of the body decides whether it is going for ketogenesis or not? Tell me. What will happen in case of the two major conditions associated are starvation and diabetes mellitus. Tell me, what will happen in starvation? You are not eating food, right? If you are not eating food, you will not have sufficient glucose. When glucose is not sufficient, what will do? This is liver. Liver will break down glycogen, right, to form glucose. Right? Now this glycogen is also depleted. What will the body use? Fat. The fat is how they are utilized via beta-oxidation. Beta-oxidation will form acetyl-CoA CoA, and this acetyl-CoA will provide energy via this TCA cycle. Now you are not eating glucose, but you are directly enter the TCA cycle. Or otherwise, what you can do, you can use acetyl-CoA, two molecules will combine to form acetoacetyl-CoA, then beta-HMG-CoA, and then it will form ketone bodies. And ketone bodies are stored as used as energy, right? How? Because they will form acetyl-CoA, and acetyl-CoA will provide energy. Clear? So this is how they are related. But what happens in starvation is then diabetes mellitus, and this. When the cycle is going on, but this oxaloacetate is depleted. So when oxaloacetate is depleted, the cycle will not complete, right? And we will have excess acetyl-CoA that is coming via this mechanism. And this acetyl-CoA excess will go where? Ketogenesis. How? Because your glucose metabolism is impaired. You have seen the persons who are diabetic, they lose weight, they become thin. Why? Because ketogenesis is going in. The diabetic ketoacidosis is there. Now in advanced stage, when they have blood glucose around 500, 400, 450, what is going on? Glucose is metabolized to form acetyl-CoA, but this acetyl-CoA cannot be handled by TCA cycle. Excess acetyl-CoA will go where? Beta-oxidation, and beta-oxidation will cause fat metabolism, and person will become able to lose weight, right? So diabetic patients mostly they are thin, or whether they are on drugs or they, right? So excess acetyl-CoA is metabolized normally via TCA, which glucose metabolism is okay. But when it is not metabolizing, this is increasing acetyl-CoA. Then this acetyl-CoA is diverted for ketogenesis, and by ketogenesis it will form acetyl-CoA, and then again the body is messing. Right? So two conditions is clear, starvation and diabetes mellitus. Starvation में क्या हुआ? Just repeat until you succeed. Starvation में क्या हुआ? You are not eating food for 7, 8, 9, 10 hours. The glucose level will fall. What will the body use? First source is glucose. It will use liver. The glycogen is stored. It will break down glycogen to form glucose. Now this liver is depleted. मेरा bank balance खत्म हो गया. What will the body use? Fat around belly or something. What will do? The fat will break down to via beta-oxidation. Beta-oxidation will form acetyl-CoA, and acetyl-CoA will do what? It will provide energy via ketogenesis. Clear? Now during diabetes mellitus, what is going on? We have excess level of glucose. 400 glucose को क्या बोलोगे? जलेबी खाते हो, चाशनी होती है ना, आपका खून चाशनी है. अगर 400 ग्लूकोज है ना किसी की, 400, 400, 500 ब्लड ग्लूकोज है, दैट इज चाशनी, इट इज शुगर, राइट? तो व्हाट इज गोइंग ऑन? डायबिटीज मेलाइटस है ना? तो व्हाट विल द TCA will not go properly. So it will not grow. The oxaloacetate will also get depleted, and this will increase because it is not being used. So this acetyl-CoA is diverted for ketogenesis. So both mechanisms are clear to you now. Anything left? Tell me name of ketogenic amino acids. Leucine and lysine. And anti-ketogenic substances कौन सी होंगी? Anti glucose and pyruvate. Anything left? Glucogenic amino acids as well. Glucogenic, they will form glucose, right? Anything left? And what is diabetic ketoacidosis? Ketoacidosis, just small topic left. Ketoacidosis. In severe uncontrolled diabetes mellitus, we will have ketoacidosis. What is ketoacidosis? Acidosis. H positive are increasing. Blood pH is changing due to diabetic ketoacidosis. I told in diabetes there is more formation of ketone bodies because this cycle is not being effectively utilized, and this acetyl-CoA is diverted for ketone body synthesis. So we have more ketone bodies, they are acidic in nature. More acidic means More H positive. More H positive means change in pH. What will it cause? Acidosis. So this is diabetic. How it is managed? By giving fluids, proper diet, and insulin therapy. What is insulin? I told insulin is anti-ketogenic or right? So it will decrease it. Clear? So if the sugar is not regulated by the patient, the insulin is given to the patient by injection, so it will decrease the that pathway. Hope you understand.